Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Kevin. I'm the founder of Refract in the stand behind you. And thanks very much for coming today. I'm here to talk to you about coaching and feedback in the millennial era. We get more feedback on eBay. This is a genuine comment that was made. And perhaps not surprising because you sell something on eBay, you get immediate feedback, or you get feedback saying how it was packed, how it was shipped, how quickly it was delivered, and all of that contributes to your score. Do we get feedback as frequently in the workplace? And how does that affect in the millennial era the expectation of how often people expect to get feedback? So first of all, our world is obviously full of feedback. We receive feedback on a day-to-day basis, and this is the world that obviously we all live in. And at the same time, I know you'll obviously all be very familiar with this huge shift in workplace learning and the acceptance that whether it's 80% informal, 20% formal, whether it's the 70-20-10, whether it's Dan Pontifac's 333 of formal, informal, and social, the workplace learning's changing as well. You constantly hear that performance appraisals are broken and that giving feedback on an infrequent basis just doesn't work anymore. And you've got that shift towards teachable moments, being able to give frequent coaching and feedback at the point where you can actually have that immediate impact. That obviously all aligns with again, the shift in the world that we're used to instant gratification. Our movies are on demand, our music's on demand, our books are on demand. We order a pair of shoes 9 o'clock in the evening, we expect them to come the next morning. We send a text message or we send a message, we haven't received a reply, we go and check that it's actually been sent. And no industry has embraced this and been able to create that level of engagement better than the gaming industry that understands the science of engagement and that constant cycle of gratification, challenge, reward, achievement to create very high levels of engagement, even addiction. But how does that affect how often we expect to get feedback from our managers in this millennial era? Well, first of all, I'll just share with you some slides that have been put together by Harvard Business Review, a study that they did, actually seeing how often people want to receive feedback. I can see lots of people taking photos here. If any, you're free to do so, but if you do want a copy of this presentation afterwards, just give me a business card and or give me your email address and I'll send it through to you. So how often do people want to receive feedback? Well, this survey showed that over half of people wanted or expected to receive feedback at least once a month from their managers. But as you can see, there's a big shift when that's compared to a millennial audience and a non-millennial audience. Millennial audience, they expected to receive feedback, 70% of them expect to receive feedback at least once a month. And clearly, no longer is the annual review fit for purpose. But what about when in this same study, when that was broken down by the type of feedback, by positive feedback and negative feedback? Which do we want to receive? Which are we most comfortable giving? So this showed that we actually prefer to receive negative feedback rather than positive feedback. We actually prefer to receive, we have a preference to receive constructive feedback that might help improve our performance rather than actually just receiving praise. However, as you can see, there's a big misalignment that's not what we're comfortable giving. We're not comfortable giving negative feedback. It's not easy to give negative feedback. So there's a big misalignment between what we want to hear and what we're comfortable giving. That was then broken down again, though, by the different age group audiences. And you can see that actually, contrary to what we were saying earlier, that actually the older you get, the more feedback you want. So you might not want it quite so frequently, but you actually want more feedback the older you want as a result of this survey. No one likes giving negative feedback, but again, a millennial audience actually are uncomfortable giving praise. There is a preference to avoid giving praise rather than actually giving that. We were debating why that might be, and maybe it's the world where it's just so easy to like or laugh out loud means that we're not actually as familiar with just giving praise on a day-to-day basis, face-to-face. There was also, as part of the same survey, a really strong alignment between a confidence level and the ability to receive negative feedback. So whilst everyone had every group had a preference to receive negative feedback rather than not, as you can see, there's a really strong alignment depending on someone's someone's confidence level. This was their own self-reflection of their confidence level. And you can see the more confident we are, the more comfortable we are receiving negative feedback. So frequent feedback, especially for millennials, we want negative feedback, but we're not necessarily comfortable giving it. We want more feedback the older we are, and confidence significantly influences our desire for negative feedback. So all of this kind of creates the rationale for feedback strategies have to be personalized. They have to be based on each individual. One size doesn't fit all. This is a personalized approach. And again, aligns to the world we live in. We get personalized marketing messages. The clothes we wear are personalized. Our coffee's personalized. And certainly increasingly our learning is personalized with personalized learning paths, adaptive learning, and so on and so forth. So it obviously stands to reason that the feedback strategy may be personalized as well. So there's many factors that influence the effectiveness of feedback. We've covered some of those in that study: age, confidence, but also career goals, personality, and perhaps most importantly, relationship. The relationship that exists between the person giving the feedback and that receiving it. Just to take one step back of what is feedback. So defining feedback as a collection of either praise, ideas, or corrective feedback, but also increasingly talking about feed forward, rather than looking back, actually being able to project forward and be able to coach and give advice on the future rather than the past. And what's the difference between feedback and coaching? Well, in each of these circumstances, feedback is still a statement. Whether it's praise, whether it's ideas, whether it's corrective feedback, it's still giving someone an indication of how you expect them to perform, how you want them to perform, even if that is praise or ideas. Whereas coaching is a conversation. Coaching's collaborative. You're working together for a shared goal. You're talking about how that can be achieved and coming up with a shared agenda rather than it being a statement. What about self-reflection, though? I just want to share with you another study that actually looked at the correlation between feedback and reflection. In this particular study, 4 groups were asked to do 2 work simulations. These were the kind of work simulations that you'll be familiar with. This was an inbox exercise that would test 4 different cognitive skills. But between doing these 2 simulations, they either received feedback, they had time to reflect and document how they felt they performed, or both of the above, or neither of the above. The kind of feedback that they were given just gave them details of each of the cognitive abilities and what it meant to be an expert in that particular cognitive ability, and their score. They weren't told which questions they got right or wrong or what they did well and what they didn't. They were just given an indication of their score against that metric. And for feedback, as I say, they were just asked just to reflect and write down, first of all, optionally, to write down what they thought they could have done better, what they thought they could have improved, what they would do differently next time. And this study showed, first of all, unsurprisingly, where there is no feedback or no reflection, as you'd expect, they scored exactly the same in the second exercise as the first. Where they had the opportunity to reflect but weren't given any feedback, again, the increase was absolutely negligible. There was almost no improvement in performance by having that moment of self-reflection. When given feedback about their performance, there was a marked improvement in their performance on the second exercise, But this was escalated further when the combination of feedback and self-reflection were coupled together. And as you can see there, it's the difference is more pronounced. In a second survey, rather than optionally adding reflection, all of those that were given the opportunity to add reflection, that became mandatory, and perhaps as you'd expect then, the difference became even more marked. So a really strong correlation between giving a feedback and the effectiveness of that feedback by having that chance to reflect, having that self-reflection, having the opportunity to think yourself how you might do that differently. So that's just a kind of quick run through and sharing a couple of studies that I wanted to share today. I've been very conscious to not make this a sales presentation. I'm just going to show you just a very quick 60-second video just to introduce Refract. Refract we're actually launching at the end of this month. This is our launch event, which is aimed at providing a tool to help managers and help trainers be more effective in giving coaching and feedback and try and address some of the challenges that this presentation covered. So if I can just very quickly just play you this presentation.
We all get it. Frequent coaching and informal learning is important. But delivering and receiving feedback doesn't sit well with everyone, even if it's praise. And it becomes even trickier if it's been a while since the event. Distorted memories make it more of a surprise than a reflection. That's why we created Refract, to observe, reflect, and improve. Refract enables events to be recorded or uploaded and key moments tagged, helping your managers and coaches to review and reflect with team members. Customized tags and comments can be added to a video or audio timeline, live or retrospectively. Each video can then be reviewed, skipping between tagged moments and providing the platform for praise, ideas, or corrective feedback. Tagged moments can be scored too, creating a development snapshot for individuals and allowing for measurement and comparison. With our analytics, you'll have an overview of your organizational strengths and weaknesses, highlighting differences between groups and teams, and allowing you to tailor learning plans accordingly. Refract, both online and via our apps. Observe, reflect, improve.
So yeah, thank you for indulging me in that quick introduction to Refract. We're actually offering anyone at the show today a free, no obligation, 3-month trial subscription. So if anyone's interested, Richard back on the stand or myself, just drop us your details. As I say, if anyone wants a copy of the presentation, please just drop me a card or your email details. And thank you very much for your time today. Thank you.